So we have somewhat worked on negative exponents when we need to differentiate. What we need to also always be able to work with is surds when you need to differentiate. So this expression here is just a basic surd expression in the sense that we have a value to the power of an exponent, and then that whole thing is under square root. Now where c is, this is usually just a 2, but we know that the value here can be any number, right? Any integer usually. So to just give a better idea of what we have here, if we have the value square root of 3, our exponent for 3 here is just a 1, right? And then as long as there's no number written here, the number there is always a 2, right? So when there's no exponent written, the exponent is just a 1. When there's no value written where c is, we know that the value there is just a 2. Hence why there's a law that says anything to the power of a half is the same as anything under square root, or rather anything under square root is the same as the value in that square root to the power of a half. Those are interchangeable. So to give a better idea of this law, what you want to keep in mind is anytime you're dealing with surds and you're dealing with differentiation, you always want to keep in mind the value that is in this position and the value that is in that position, because whatever the value that's in this position and the value that's in that position, before you can differentiate, you will always need to put your expression in a format that is differentiable, right? So all that happens is when you have an expression that needs to be differentiated, before you can differentiate that expression, as long as it is a square root symbol or a surd, all that you need to do is whatever the number will be up there, you always take it under the exponent in there, right? Hence why if you had square root of k, it's just the same as k to the power of a half, because all that has happened is the 2 out here has been put under the 1 in there. Hence why this format here. Anytime you're given anything in surd format, before you differentiate it, you just need to write it in a format where you have a value to the power of an exponent with the coefficient. So all that would have happened is the value outside your surd, as in the tiny number right at the top here, that tiny number, you always write it under the exponent inside your square root symbol. Hence why anything under a square root symbol is just to the power of a half. So now that we have mentioned that, what we need to keep in mind is when we work with differentiation and surds, so if we have something like g of x, it looks a bit funny, right? Because we're used to having exponents that are at least to the power of 3. However, this should not be anything too strange. Reason being, if you have to differentiate g of x, before you can differentiate g of x, you always need to simplify by executing this process. The value outside, you just take it under the exponent there. Now this is not differentiated, remember. This is just simplified. This is just put in a format which we can clearly see that the coefficient here is just a 1 and our exponent is just 4/5. So when we differentiate this, we're going to have 4/5 with x to the power of a negative 1/5. So all that has happened is we have just executed normal differentiation. We said our exponent, which is the whole fraction here, 4/5, we multiplied by 1 in front, because we know as long as there's no number here, the number there is just a 1. So the exponent multiplied by the coefficient, this gave us 4/5. And then we had to say our exponent minus 1. This is giving us negative 1/5. So this here, we also know that if you're dealing with negative exponents, we always need to pack that up into a format where we don't have those negative exponents, because you want to get into the habit of not working with negative exponents as your final answer. Now, when we pack this up, all that happens is the x to the power of negative 1 over 5, that whole value or that whole expression goes where the 5 is. Hence why we have something that looks like this. This will be your final answer. You can easily leave it like this. This will get you all your marks. So we're not going to leave it like that. Reason is, you have in some textbooks, right, or in some memos, you will have cases where you start off with a surd, it gets differentiated, and at the end you have a surd again. So we said, if you have a negative exponent, you can simplify and have a positive exponent at the end. This will give you all your marks. You'll be done. However, for the sake of not getting confused when you're on your own working on a past paper and you're looking at the memo, you want to keep in mind things like this. So this expression and this expression are exactly the same. The reason is, here we can see that x is to the power of 1 over 5. Here we can see that we have here a square root symbol with a tiny 5 there, and then x is technically to the power of 1. So all that has happened is these two here, right, they are basically just interchangeable, in the sense that if the 5 here goes out, right, this 5 here is this 5 there, and then the 1 up there is just the 1 which is the exponent of x. So all they did was the 5 went out, the 1 went where x is, and then they have your square root symbol again. So it's just a matter of reversing the process we did in the beginning there. So don't get confused when you have fractions that are exponents and then they end up writing them with surds and stuff like that. All that would have happened is the denominator of the fraction goes out, and then the numerator of the fraction will become the exponent of your value. So I could even write here a tiny 1, right? But remember, you will not see that tiny 1 there, but then that's what would have happened. So to cap everything off, this is the example we're going to work on. This will allow us to touch on a very important portion on differentiation. So if we're given g of x and they want us to get the differentiated format of g of x, we need to keep in mind that we are not able to just jump straight into differentiating. Main reason is that this here is technically not in standard form, or it's technically not in a format that we can differentiate. We can see that our terms here, this is in a format that's differentiable on its own, same this, same that. However, the whole expression as a whole cannot be differentiated if it's like this in grade 12. You see how I'm always emphasizing in grade 12, because there are certain laws on differentiation that you're not going to learn in grade 12. So a key thing is, when you're going to be working on differentiation on your own, maybe studying online, keep in mind what kind of differentiation methods you're going to learn, because there are things like product rule, quotient rule, chain rule, and then even things like differentiation, things like integration, which is the reverse of differentiation. So a lot of that stuff, you're going to bump into that online. However, for grade 12, you want to keep in mind that try to use your textbook when you work on differentiation, because there are a lot of other stuff outside of differentiation in grade 12 that you don't need to learn. So all I'm trying to say is, in grade 12, right, if we're going to differentiate this, we need to simplify it first. Later on, maybe in varsity, you will be able to differentiate this from the go. But in our case, we need to simplify this first. So simplifying this first, one key thing is, you always, usually 99% of the time, you want to firstly write everything here with your denominator. like this. So what we have done here, we have now put our expression in a format that we can see individual terms. So us being able to see individual terms, we are now somewhat one step closer to being able to differentiate each term individually. Because remember, the idea of differentiating in grade 12 is having single terms that you can easily go to and differentiate using that one law. So here, this we can simplify into something where we'll just have 4x, because 1x at the bottom counts as 1x at the top. This here, 1x at the top counts as 1x at the bottom, so we're just going to be left with 1, or rather negative 1, because there's a negative in front there. Here we cannot cancel anything. However, we know that here we're working with a fraction, and we don't have in grade 12 laws to differentiate a fraction. So just bear with me every time I'm emphasizing in grade 12, because yeah, you want to be just very specific with the kind of differentiation you learn in grade 12. So in this case here, before we differentiate this, the only way we can simplify this is by, we said this x here, we know that it has an exponent of positive 1, right? So putting this in a format that we can differentiate, the x has to be taken up and its exponent has to be a negative. So there we will end up with 2x to the power of negative 1. So here keep in mind also that our g of x is still just g of x here, because this is to show that we have not differentiated, we have merely just simplified. So this is what was given. Before we can differentiate, you will always need to simplify first. Now, if you're dealing with fractions, you usually put each term with the denominator. You will usually be able to simplify by chopping stuff at the top. And keep in mind how I'm saying, or how I'm using the word usually a lot, because this is like a trend with your papers, right? So here now, these are all in a format that we can differentiate. For 4x, this is just going to be 4, because 1 multiplied by 4 is just a 4, and then 1 minus 1 is a 0, so the x falls away. So we said already that anytime you differentiate anything where the exponent is a 1, you'll always just be left with the coefficient. So these tiny laws, right, they will become very simple, or you will get used to them very quickly. So don't worry about how this is still new and it's still a bit shaky, right? That's normal. So here we have a constant, and we said anytime you differentiate a constant, it just falls away. It becomes a 0. It just goes away, right? So here where we have a negative 1, there we can just put, let's put a 0 there as a placeholder. And then here now we're going to have 2 multiplied by negative 1. That's going to be negative 2 in the front. And then negative 1 minus 1, that's going to be negative 2. So the reason we've put it out in this format first is to just show what happened to each term. Here 4x differentiated is 4, negative 1 is a constant, so differentiating that, it just falls away. And then here 2 to the power of negative 1, we have 2x to the power of negative 1. This whole thing differentiated is going to be negative 2x to the power of negative 2. So we have differentiated, and we said though we cannot leave this the way it is because we have a negative exponent there. So all we do is we take the x to the power of negative 2 under the negative 2 in front of it, and then our exponent will be a positive there. In the middle here, we know that's just a 0, so we don't have to keep writing it. This will be your final answer. Right at the top here, we have an equation of g of x, and they want us to differentiate that equation. Before we differentiate it, we have to simplify, differentiate, simplify some more, depending on how it looks. And in this case, our negative value is what caused us to just, simplify again. So this will be your final answer there. Key thing is what we have worked on in this tutorial, they are very important for differentiation, and they are the tiny steps which you will always iterate over and over again depending on how big your differentiation equation will get. So you want to keep that in mind. It is very important. So that's that for this differentiation tutorial. I'll definitely catch you on the next one.